Hello everyone, my name is Shannon Bellum. You are watching Whiskey and Wool on YouTube. I can be found as Whiskey and Wool on most social media. All my knitting related stuff is Whiskey and Wool. So I'm Whiskey and Wool with 4 O's on Instagram and Whiskey and Wool on Ravelry. You can find me there. Welcome to my channel about knitting and spinning and fiber and yarn events. Today I'm mostly going to talk to you. I do have some knitting to show, and I have some other whips that I'm going to give you an update on. But I'm also going to talk to you a lot about Rhinebeck. I'm going to talk to you about what I'm excited about with Rhinebeck. Yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to first talk to you about tea. I am drinking David's tea. I just got this mug. I didn't know it was going to be leopard print. I actually thought it was going to have this print on it, which I think is super cool. Wait, there we go. I thought it was going to have this on it, and it's supposed to be one of these. And it actually is one of these mugs that when you pour hot water in it, those tiger stripes are all black and then they turn gold when it's hot. So as the liquid cools down, they'll go back to being black. But I could have sworn when I looked at because I bought a little Halloween package from them. So I'm drinking this flavor called Monster Mash, which tastes exactly like pumpkin pie, like a good pumpkin pie. It's so good. It's got like little pieces of like little sugary bats and little sugary other things in it, as well as like this really cool spice and stuff. It's so good. So I bought myself a tin of that, and the tin was this print, and I thought I was buying a mug with this print, and then I bought this. This is a countdown calendar to Samhain. I think I'm saying that correctly. Witchy countdown calendar, and it's really cute. I never buy anything Halloween countdown, but it's got like these windows that either have tea or I think chocolate in them daily, so you can do that the last 10 days of October. I'm going to do this sooner because I'm going to Italy. So I'll be starting that probably I have to count, this Monday. I'm going to really be like my countdown to Italy. The mug also comes with this really cute little lid so I can keep my tea hot. And it comes with a little insertable filter. So I'm going to just let that cool. It's a little too hot to drink. It's really good though. Really good. I don't know if they still have these. I did just buy this. So yeah, 10 days until my trip. Really exciting. I first thought I would take it. I didn't realize it was as big. I was thinking I would take it with me and I would open it one each day that I was on my trip, and that way I'd have some really good tea to drink while I was away as well. But, oh well. Too big to pack, I think. Though not too heavy. Anyway, yeah, actually, let me tell you what I'm wearing in case I have some new viewers. So welcome new viewers and welcome returning viewers. I treasure your comments and your thoughts on everything I post. I love to interact with people that are listening to me, which reminds me, I know at least 2 or 3 of you are going to Rhinebeck. I would really like to see you. I'd really like to meet up. So I'm going to go through what I already have scheduled, but I'd love to like hang out. So I'm actually gonna reach out to the people that I know that are going. So if you're going and you want me to reach out to you and try to smooth out when we could meet or where we could meet, or if you want to just kind of ballpark it, that's fine too. But yeah, please let me know, and I will. Yeah, I'll try to make that happen, because I've realized like what's really important to me in the Rhinebeck or these fiber festival world. Like really, what's really important to me is meeting people. Like I really want to connect with people. And the first couple years that I went, I was trying to connect with people that were doing this, that were doing things like this, like podcasting or making an episode, making a YouTube channel, or designers or yarn vendors and stuff. But I actually really find myself more interested in just the hobbyist knitters just like me, or the hobbyist spinners. So yeah, so do reach out, please. Okay, so I am wearing a pattern called New York Laneway. It is a DK weight sweater, a top down knit. I'll put a picture on here of maybe I'll put a picture of me in this sweater. So it's a color block knit. The only place this is made out of West wool, Stephen West wool, which is I can't remember the blend, but I'm gonna put it on screen. It's 90% something and 10% textile. It's like very breed specific. This is the palest blue here, and then I used the orange color, which I think is called Beatrice, and then I used his medium gray, which I think is called Graykovich. Anyway, I'm gonna link my project page so you can take a look at it. Yeah, so it's color block. It's a super fast knit. It's a top down knit. And you can do, like, I did another one that was like very neutral, all neutral colors, like all shades of gray. I think black was one shade, so 2 shades of gray and black. And it came out beautiful. Like, it's such an easy to wear sweater if you like DK weight sweaters. So yeah, anyway, I recommend. It's my own design, actually. Full disclosure, it's my own design, but I recommend it. I did a fold over knit band. So the band is knit stitch, not rib stitch, and then there's it's a fold over. So you do one row of purl after an inch, and then that is your fold line, and then you just whip stitch it down on the inside neck. And yeah, anyway. Yeah, it's a drop shoulder. The only thing I could say about this yarn, I made the pattern to go with a very drapey yarn with 100% cashmere. And I do wish with this more crisp, structured yarn, I had gone up a size, because then I would have gotten more of the drape, more of the looseness that I think I originally intended for you to have in the sweater. So I would say that if you're going to make the pattern and you're going to use a more structured yarn, like kind of a crunchy, crisp farmhouse yarn, you're better off going up a size. But if you're going to do a superwash merino or something that has a little bit of silk in it, or 100% cashmere or a cashmere blend, those like more drapey, or alpaca, those more drapey fabrics, you're fine with not going up a size necessarily. So fine, like the pattern is really written for a very drapey yarn. So if you think about it like that, you will not go wrong. Okay. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. It's gorgeous out. It's beautiful and crisp. It's like in the mid 50s, and it's perfect sweater weather. I am wearing shorts though, because I love wearing sweaters with shorts. It's warm now. Earlier I had like woolly pants on because it was pretty chilly. It was in the low 40s this morning. But we're getting our real nice fall like weather. It's coming in now. As long as a hurricane coming up from the south or a tropical storm pushing the warmer clouds our way doesn't happen, we're in fall. Like, this is it. It's fall, then it'll be winter, and we'll get some snow and all of that. Yeah, so that is the weather here in northern New Jersey, where I work and I live and I knit and all that stuff. If you're not familiar with this part of the country, this part of the United States, New Jersey is right next to New York City. It like kind of sprawls along, curves around the city, and the northern part of New Jersey where I live, New York State border is only about a half hour away, and New York City is also about a half hour drive away, or maybe an hour if it's rush hour and there's a lot of traffic, and or about or I would say about 45 minutes via train. Like if I were to mass transit in to the city, that's about where, that's more or less geographically where I am. If that helps you sort of picture where I am. Okay, so I want to talk to you about my knitting, and as you can see, Martha is my mannequin. What she is wearing is my almost completed sweater. This is the Throwback sweater by Andrea Mowry, and she wrote the pattern for worsted weight, and I have knit it in fingering weight. I have talked about this many, many times on the podcast that I have realized that I don't really wear heavyweight sweaters. Even DK weight's a little too heavy. Like, I will not reach for DK weight sweaters very frequently. My most frequent wears are fingering weight sweaters. So I like to layer them. I'll put one fingering, like a layering tee or a layering shirt in fingering weight, and then put another fingering weight sweater over it. And then I can strip down during the day if I need to, or, layer up, like put a vest on, like put a puffy fabric vest on or a fleece vest or something on to be a little warmer. So that's just my personal preference. So with that in mind, I made the Throwback sweater in fingering weight. I think it came out pretty good. I am super happy with it. I had a lot of trepidation about the colors that I chose, and I wasn't quite sure if I was going to like it, but I love it. This is one of my Rhinebeck sweaters. It's one of 4 that I have for Saturday. Crazy. I'm going to go over all 4 of the sweaters I have too. So this is the first of the 4 that I have for Saturday. I am meeting Kristy Glass Knits as well as like many viewers of hers on Saturday morning of Rhinebeck on October 19th. I think it's the 19th. The Saturday is 19th. I'm meeting her on the 19th, and you're meant to bring a completed sweater that you will then steek. So what you're seeing right here is my steeking line. So these 2 rows are my crocheted rows of reinforcement. I'm going to take this off and put it up close to the camera so you can see the color work and more details in a minute. I'll just finish talking about it, and then I'm going to put another whip on so you can see that whip. So these 2 rows are the crochet reinforcement. So this is, you're meant to cut right in between those 2 reinforcements all the way up. But ahead of that, before I do that cutting, I think you could actually, if I wasn't doing the Steek and Streak with Kristy Glass Knits, I could actually cut it now. And it's so tempting to just, blow her off. I hate to say that. I hate to put it like that. But yeah, to just go ahead and cut it and just be like, okay, I did it. I'm not going to do that though. It's only 2 weeks away, so I should be okay. I should be okay waiting. But what I am meant to do ahead of meeting with the group that's going to be steeking their sweaters on camera with her is to put on the bands, the front bands. So if you're not familiar with the pattern, the front bands has... do I have it with me here? No, I don't. The front bands are just like this. This is a 4x4 rib trim. So it's a 4x4 rib trim that goes down the front, and there's no buttons. It's just a cardigan that hangs open with no buttons. So yeah, so I'm going to stitch those on. That's all I have left to do with this. In the pattern instructions, Andrea Mowry has you block the sweater before you do those knit bands, which I think is about smoothing out the color work in the yoke to just flatten it out, because it does, she does have you do very rapid increasing both before the color work and in between the color work. So there was a lot of, it's still a little, you can see it a little bit, I think, right there. There's a little bit of rippling that's going on because of those rapid increases. I think you're increasing every other stitch or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's a very, very rapid increase, more rapid increase than any sort of increase that I've done on a color work yoke before. So yeah, I will be, I've blocked it. It looks so good, doesn't it? I love it. I love it. And now next thing I will do, hopefully tonight or tomorrow, I will be stitching those front bands up. When I was doing the steeking reinforcements, I made a little boo-boo, which I think you can see very clearly. Like this one kind of goes off to the side. I found it really hard to follow the line of knitting where there were increases. So there's all those rapid increases, and I think with this one, I started on the top and worked my way down, where the other one I went from bottom up. And I think I just got off track. So I'm gonna go back and make another row of crochet reinforcement, just like from where I went off track, straight up. And then I'll put the knit band right on that edge and it'll go straight down. So it's open down here because the knit band is going to attach. It's going to be stitched on there. I think it's time to take it off. So let me do that. So yes, you attach you start picking up stitches right here at this bottom edge and you go all the way up. So I'll be tracing the line of where this row is. It's making this weird U, but that's just because it's ribbing. So I think I'll find that the row of stitching is actually right about here. Hang on, right about there versus the, yeah, so it'll be like about a row and a half over. One of the things that I learned, this is my first steek, so I really hope it works. I've learned that if you don't put the crochet reinforcement, like you're meant to do the reinforcing stitches where you're overlapping rows. So if you have like if this is a row and then you have another row here, you're meant to put the reinforcing stitches between right here, right, connecting these two, right? So you're not supposed to do, if this is your row, your V of your row, you're not doing the reinforcement there. You're doing or over here, you're doing it here. So you're picking up a leg of one row and a leg of the other. That's the way I understand the reinforcements. So apparently if you mess up and do the same row, you can end up with some unraveling, which you can fix, but I'm hoping not to have to do that. So I was super careful that I did that. I'm going to do the same when I do my knit bands, like when I do my front stitch bands. So now, okay. Without further ado, let me get on to the yarn. So what is the yarn that I've used? And for returning viewers, sorry, this is like, you're probably tired of this ad nauseum. So this beautiful yarn in this gorgeous color that can only be described as mauve because it's not purple and it's not pink, but it's a beautiful pinky purple and black heather. It's so pretty. Here it is on the skein. Is Tuka Wool, and I bought it at Ysolda's booth at EYF earlier this year in March. I bought the recommended amount of skeins that you needed for a sweater. I had no idea what sweater I was planning to make with it. I just wanted to buy it and I wanted to put it in my stash and think about it. And I ended up buying 7 skeins because that was what was recommended for my size. And this is the last, probably about a half a, I've used 4.5 skeins for this, and you saw how it fit. This is the last half of the 5th skein, which I will be surprised if I use it all on the front bands. So which means I have 2 extra skeins. Boo. I don't like when that happens. I have mentioned this before. I'm trying really hard to do a better job of making sure I buy a sweater's quantities properly, and I've learned that fingering weight, when we talk about like so I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but when we talk about like a basic indie dyed fingering weight, 400 meters or yards, 360 meters, 400 yards, 100 gram skeins, I know I use somewhere between 2 1/4 to 3 at the most, like 2 3/4 skeins for a sweater. So now that I know that, I know indie dyed fingering weight, if I buy 3 skeins, I'm good to go on any sweater design that I come up with. And if I have color work that's going on in that sweater, I need even less because it will, some of the space is being taken up by another color. Okay, so let me tell you what I've done here with the yarns. I have, with my color work, so I'm going to show you up close while I talk about it. So the color work here is Spincycle. So if you remember, if you paid attention last year when the original throwback sweaters were first being knit last year. It was a huge sweater at Rhinebeck last year. People were making it out of worsted weight and then using the Dream State, the brand new Dream State, which is a worsted weight base from Spincycle that does the same color changing magic that you're seeing here on my sweater. People were buying Dream State, but when I saw Spincycle at Indie Untangled last year, I didn't know that, and I wasn't thinking about making, at that point I was really taking a step back from following the social media trends, and anything that was trendy I just wasn't interested in. I was like, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that. I want to just take a breath, take a step back, and think clearly about what it is I want to knit for me. And I'm not going to sit there and jump on the next most interesting thing. But I was curious about Spincycle yarn. So I did go to their booth, and instead of buying Dream State, their worsted weight, I bought a whole bunch, not a whole bunch, but 3 or 4 skeins. I think I bought 4 skeins of their Dyed in the Wool, which is a fingering / sport weight. I think they call it sport weight. So it was a lighter weight. And when I was thinking about what sweater could I make into a cardigan that I could steek, I wanted to use yarns that I had. I knew that it was important to use a toothy woolly wool. And I realized that, and I really wanted to use my Spincycle yarn. So I just figured, let me just try to swatch for the throwback sweater, and because it was designed with Spincycle in mind, let me just swatch that in fingering weight and see how I like it. Swatched it up. I loved it. I wasn't sure about the colors, but I figured I was just gonna go for it and just give it a try. And yeah, I'm so happy with it. I love it. I think I'm going to live in this sweater after it gets, not on Rhinebeck Day, but after it gets steeked and I can be confident about the broken edges that I know are going to appear, the cut edges that I know are going to appear once it gets cut. I may look for ribbon to stitch those down with. I'm not sure. Gonna see how I feel about it. But anyway, I figured once I'm comfortable with that, I'm hoping that this is one of the sweaters, or maybe the only sweater that I bring on my trip to Europe when I go the day after Rhinebeck. Because it's supposed to be quite warm when I'm over in Italy, and I think the nights get a little chilly, and I think this would be really awesome. It's so like color-wise, like it's autumnal, but it's not screaming autumnal. It's still got a little bit, it's like that late summer, autumn sort of mood, which I just adore and I love. So anyway, yeah. All right, so Tuka Wool, fingering weight, got it from Ysolda. I think other places sell it though, so you don't have to buy it from her if you don't want to. And the yarns that I used for the yoke are Spincycle, Dyed in the Wool. What you're seeing are, there are 3 different colors, but actually I used 2 of the same. 2 colors are the same color. It's just, one of the colors is Spincycle's Dyed in the Wool, which is a rainbow skein. So I had 2 of those skeins, and I was able to use a part of one in this yellow. So it actually starts here in this like kind of limey green, and then it went into yellow, and then from yellow it went to orange, and then from orange to red, and then it goes into this like sort of burnt orange, rusty red down here. And then the other Truthbomb color is this turquoisey blue. It actually started up here as a pale blue, then it became turquoise and went to a pale green, and then to an even paler green down here. And then the third color that starts up here is sort of a deep purple, which I think you can see pretty well, and then goes to a paler purple and then back to a deep purple again. That's Ruination. So that's this color right here. So it starts out as you can see that it's gone now because I've knit with it, but it goes from purple to blue. So I was knitting like from like here to there, and then, but that was inside there. So this had basically 2 color repeats where it was like purple, blue, purple, blue. The Truthbomb, which this is the little bit of what I have left, it goes through 7 or maybe 8 colors, or like gradient. It's like a gradient of 7 or 8 colors. So yeah, I find that most of the most of the spin cycles go through either 2 or 3 colors. So this one being 7 is pretty interesting. I've said before, and I stand by it, that I used very little yarn. I actually, this little dab that's left of Truthbomb, I used a whole lot of it in one of the sweaters I'm going to show you, in my Chauncey sweater that I'm going to be wearing for most of the day on Saturday at Rhinebeck. That one, I used this same skein for that, and I used it for this, and I still have this much left. So I do think that if you were to buy Truthbomb and divide it into 3 different sections, you would have enough, at least in the fingering weight. If you followed my lead here and did a fingering weight sweater, you would have enough to do all of this, because look how much is left. Quite a lot. Okay, so that is this sweater. That is my throwback sweater, and my earliest sweater for Rhinebeck Saturday. Okay. Do I finish Rhinebeck or do I go into my whips? I'm going to finish Rhinebeck, actually. Okay, so once that steeking happens, I am going to then be changing to this, my Chauncey sweater, and this is the rest of Truthbomb, or the missing parts of Truthbomb, that same skein that I just showed you. This particular skein started with a pale lavender and went to a blue, and then into the turquoise and green, and then the rest of the green to yellow to orange was here in the first band that you see there. But this I knit in order to meet up with Dundernit of Caroline of the Knitting Vicariously podcast. She did a Glorious Gold Along. I think it's over. I'm pretty sure the Glorious Gold Along is over. But yeah, so I made this sweater so that we're gonna do, I can't remember what time she said, I'm gonna have to look it up. I want to say it's like 11:30 or so. But meeting on the Podcasters Hill in our gold sweaters for a photo op. I think that's the extent of that meetup. So, but I expect that if you're going to Rhinebeck and you're looking for me, I probably won't be wearing my throwback. I'll be wearing this instead for most of the day. I'll be wearing my Chauncey sweater. I mean, I might wear both if it's dreary and cold and I need. These are both fingering weight. I'm going to just link, instead of going through all the yarns and spending time doing all of that, I will link my project page so you can check out that. At 1 o'clock, I am meeting up with a group of women who are Junko Okamoto fans, and I will be donning this sweater, my Papa sweater by Junko Okamoto. Another Spincycle yarn. I have been just Spincycle crazy lately. Just using up, I bought a bunch of it and it sat and it was so pretty to look at, and I ended up caking them all because once I caked Truthbomb and I saw that it made a rainbow like in the center here, I caked all the rest because I was like, oh my god, this yarn's magical. Let me check it out. Let me see what I get. So I was like really, really keen to see what I got. So this was actually the first sweater that I made with the Spincycle yarn, and this is in fact their Dream State yarn. It is the colorway Deep bump, and so it goes from like a lime green, it's a two color, I would call it a two color, a lime green to a turquoisey, an aqua blue, and then back to a pale, like a celadon. It's not really lime, it's celadon. So celadon to turquoise to celadon, or maybe not even turquoise, maybe like a jade color, celadon to jade. But yeah, so I will be putting this sweater on for a photo op with these other ladies. They reached out to me on Ravelry and invited me to join them at the Cider Donut House at 1 o'clock on Saturday. So this is my third sweater for Rhinebeck Saturday. My fourth sweater for Rhinebeck Saturday is this one. I just heard my cat. This is my As If Tee made out of kick drum by Fibre for the People and Neighborhood Fiber Company. Silk mohair, kid silk mohair. Neighborhood Fiber Company's kid silk mohair is a little more special than other kid silk mohair in that it's a 60-40 blend instead of a 70-30 blend. So I was curious about it, and I picked it up at Vogue Knitting Live, and I had meanwhile ordered this prior to going to Vogue Knitting Live from Taylor of Fibre for the People. So this is my As If Tee. I will be wearing this in the evening to a As If Tee bowling night. I'm not planning to bowl. I just want to socialize. I had been watching Katie Jacks of the I think their names are Caitlin and Jackie, if I remember right. Yeah, but they call themselves Katie Jacks Knits on YouTube. So I was watching their podcast or their channel one day, and they were saying that they were going to be there, so I'm excited to meet them. And I think it was Jackie said she was interested. She would love to knit an As If Tee out of kick drum from Fibre for the People. And it turns out I bought twice as much as I need. So I am planning to gift her. I told her I would, but I did it in a public way and she didn't acknowledge it. But I don't care. I'm going to just give her the yarn anyway. Because I have 2 more skeins of this yarn. So I will be gifting that to Jackie if she'll take it. I'm not giving her the mohair though. She can get her own. Because I really think you could do a lot of different shades of mohair with this. You could do navy and it would be beautiful, and you could do like a pale green or a yellow if you wanted. I really wanted a rose gold color, which is what I think this is. I think the colorway, I don't remember the name of it. Wasn't Victoria Street is because Neighborhood Fiber Company names all their colors after locations in Baltimore where they're located, and I know Victoria Street is a pale pink, but this is a pale peach. Anyway, I don't remember. Again, my project page will be linked if you must know what it was that I used for this. But yeah, that's my fourth Saturday Rhinebeck sweater. I still don't have a Friday Rhinebeck sweater. I kind of do. I mean, certainly I have plenty of sweaters I could wear on that Friday. I don't have to make anything specific, but I am working on a couple sweaters that I want to share with you in terms of, perhaps these will be my my Friday Rhinebeck sweater. So this next one, this is a whip that is new, so I'm not really going in whip order. The Throwback sweater was the one that took the most amount of my time until I got it to the point where it was blocked, which was last weekend, and then I moved on to other knits. So this is a new cast on, another Spincycle cast on. I think I shared this last week, but I hadn't done very much. I am now done with all the color work. So this is the Tensho Pullover. I was super inspired after doing my Throwback sweater, a worsted weight in fingering weight, and the way that I did that was I pretty much know the number of stitches around that I need and fingering weight, like around my bust. So I just kind of found, I pretty much just found the stitch count that was in the ballpark of what I need and then worked my way backwards. So I think with the Throwback, I knit a size 6 to get a size 3, but I actually think I ended up more with a size 4 than 3, which is fine. It's a cardigan. It's meant to be loose. In this one, I did a very similar thing. So this is the Tensho Pullover by, I want to say her name is Beatrice. Yeah, Beatrice Perron Dahlen. I've probably already put a picture, but that is what the sweater yoke looks like. It's supposed to be worsted weight. Instead, I've done a fingering weight, and yeah, I'm so happy with it. That is what it looks like. The yarn is again Spincycle, dyed in the wool is the base, and the color is tangled up in blue. And this is another one that's 2 colors. It starts it goes from blue to turquoise back to blue again. And I made one mod with the color work that I am so happy with the way it came out. I think you can see it right there. Wait a minute. Could show it to you upside down, it would be easier, just because I put in skulls, which I had written in my notes. Hey, maybe I could show you on the back a little easier, because I've done some short row shaping now, so there's a little more space. There you go. Look, so I put in some skulls, some cool scullies. Yeah, I think this is like such a pretty autumnal sweater. It's just, the colors are just glowing. I think it's like very complimentary for my skin tone, and I'm so excited to get this done. So I am almost to the point where I split for the sleeves. I think if I am a monogamous knitter, I will I will finish in time for Rhinebeck. If I can get it to the point where it if I can get it to the point where it is a mindless stockinette in the round knit, I think I can get it done. I think I can get it done. Because I'll be able to carry it to work and knit on it while I'm in meetings and stuff. And that should be pretty cool. Oh my God, look at those skulls. They're so cute. I'm not going to put them anywhere else. There is a little bit of color work on the sleeves of this pattern. I'm just gonna do the way that they did the color work. I don't want to overkill the skulls, because I want to be able to, I don't want it to be like a October only sweater. I want to be able to wear it other times. So, and I think that this like sort of rusty brown color, it sort of kind of pins it to this time of year. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to stretch the wearings, because I just love it. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so the base yarn is by Ushushita. I think she's based in the Netherlands, and the color is the base, this base she calls Squirrel Sock. I think it's her only base that has bronze stellina in it. So it's a 75% superwash nylon, or superwash, 15% nylon, and 10% bronze stellina. And the colorway is called Squirrel Kids. I don't think I've seen any other colors by her that are on this base. So it is so gorgeous. So gorgeous. And that sparkle is super subtle. It just kind of catches the light. It's more like a shimmer than a sparkle, a high shine, which I really love. I love the tonal reds and stuff. In fact, while I was doing this, as much as I love the way that the blue was changing, which was super exciting, and it kind of makes you just do that, like, I gotta do one more row, I gotta do one more row, I gotta do one more row, because you want to just see the color change. So though that was super exciting with the color work, as I was getting to the end, as much as I really wanted to see the skulls done, I really was super keen to see just what this yarn, what fabric does this yarn make. So now that I'm down here, I'm really happy. It's so fun. It's so fun. I haven't alternated skeins yet, but I did pop another skein in my knit bag because I am going to start alternating now because I don't really think there's any point of alternating when you're already doing color work. I don't need another skein of yarn to manage. But I think it's just good planning to alternate indie dyed skeins. I didn't always feel that way, but I feel that way now that I've made some that really are just like a little where you can see the line. I don't really like that very much. So yeah, I'm hoping that will be my Friday sweater. If not, and also if it's warmer than, like if it's on the warm side, I have my Rhinoculus sweater. I'll be wearing that. We'll see how it is. So it's starting, yeah, it's already starting to fade on the top because the tea's gone down. I know tiger stripes are really in right now. I was really kind of bummed because I was expecting all of these really cool occult-like signs on the side. Oh well, whatever. I'm gonna take that to work. I'm gonna take that mug to work and use it there. Okay, I have two other whips that have gotten some love. This one, I gotta talk to you more about this one. Wait, what did I do with? Oh no, it's on the back of the chair. Okay, okay. So this sweater, this is one of my own designs. What I am making here is a layering tee. So if it looks quite small, it's not really meant to have negative ease. Instead, it's a rib knit pattern that's quite stretchy. So though it's looking very scrunched up right now, it will in blocking flatten out. I have a swatch that I can show you. So it's really going to flatten out in the blocking. So it won't be as clingy as it appears to be right now in the way that it's knit. So I was working away on this and I was thinking that I was very close to the end and like getting ready to do the ribbing bottom. You're seeing this section right here that has like a box out. What's going to go there is a rib knit placket with buttons, and then there'll be a rib knit collar. It will have long sleeves, so I'll be knitting the sleeves top down. So this is a top down knit. I'm planning to add a little bit of bright yellow tipping on the bottom of the sweater, on the cuff of the sleeve, and then also on the placket and around the collar, around the rib knit collar, so that'll just be a little pop of color, which I think will be cute. I am not going to rush to publish this pattern, and because I'm planning this rib stitch is called Mistake Rib. I'm planning to do 2 more versions of this. This is like a layering tee, and I talked about this before. I've talked about it in my past weeks. It is based on this J. Crew sweater. That's a store-bought sweater that I call like my uniform. It is like my uniform day in and day out. When I go to work, I'll pull on a pair of jeans or a pair of like just trousers, and then just a layering tee like this. Excuse all the cat hair and everything that's on this layering tee. So this is a store-bought layering tee from J. Crew. It's made out of merino wool, and they retail for about $100, like $80 to $100, I think, depending on whether or not you can get them on sale. And it's a very, very, very fine knit. So you can see that it's a very fine knit. It is it's machine knit, of course, and I want to say it's like a 2x2. In the industry, we wouldn't call this a rib knit. We would call this all needle. I don't know why. I don't know why they call it that versus rib, but it's just called all needle. And it's a very subtle texture. So I thought I was almost done with this puppy, and then I started to take out, because it was getting colder, I started to take out some of my more cool weather clothes. And when I took this out, I realized that it was a whole lot longer than what I was intending to knit that one. So, and I really want this to be a very good replica of this pattern. So what I did was I took this sweater here and I spec'd it. So I wrote like all of the measurements and how it fit on me. The one thing that I didn't do, I didn't measure from the armpit down to the bottom. I don't know why. I think I just figured I knew what I like. And I was heading for that 24 to 25 inch length, and it turns out that this is about 3 inches longer. It's more like a 27. This is about 3 inches longer. It's more like a 27 inch. And I love the way this fits. So since I'm trying to duplicate a store-bought, machine-made garment, I thought, yeah, I should just follow along. I know that this yarn, oh, I didn't tell you about the yarn. This yarn is a superwash yarn. It's by Qing Fibre. It is her, it's a yarn that she calls tweed sock. I don't see it. I haven't seen it in the shop for a long time. I bought it about 2 years ago, and the colorway is Panda. It's there in the silver on the side. She says it's 100% merino, but I suspect it's superwash. It's supposed to be a fingering weight or a sock weight, but it knits up like a sport weight. So I realize that like this knit is not as fine as this knit, and that's okay. I just am looking for that silhouette. This is just, like I said, one version. The next one that I make, I'm going to be making out of my hand spun, so that'll be interesting. And my hand spun, I think, is spinning up, I think it's this weight, maybe a little bit thinner. I did swatch it. It's this, I don't know if you recall, this red yarn that I bought from Countess Ablaze, or fiber that I bought from Countess Ablaze. It's on my spinning wheel now. I've got one skein done. I've got 2 more skeins to go. I'm about halfway, a little more than halfway through the second skein. I just haven't been spinning much. I just haven't really been all that interested in spinning. I think it's because I know I need to finish this before I need it, so I'm sort of making myself plow through. And I really, like, this is the time of year to wear this. So I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get this done. I gotta get this done. I gotta get this done. So I'm trying really hard to just push through all of the questions in my mind about the design work that go into that. Because designing, when you're knitting and designing on the fly, it does really slow you down. It slows down the knitting. Because I sometimes will stop, put the piece down, and think about it for a couple days before, like think about how I want to solve a problem before I head back over to take care of that. So I don't really feel the urgency to get that spinning project done. But yeah, I'll get back to it. I really want to do a little spinning before I head off for my 2-week vacation, because I don't want to feel like, oh, now it's been a month since I've been spinning, and I don't want to lose the touch, like lose practice. Okay, one other whip that you haven't seen in a long time, in several episodes, but I made myself work on this last weekend, and I pushed myself to get from the construction of the top down to the armpit. So there's something about, for me, when I'm knitting, there's something about getting through this area, like getting from the shoulder down to the armpit. And once I get it to the armpit, then I'm like, it's like, phew, it's like now I'm on easy street. Because I guess I think that as I am working on those shoulder, neck area, there's just so much checking where you're just knitting a row or two and then you're doing something different. Then you're knitting a row or two and you're doing something different. So for me, like getting past that part where I'm checking and checking and checking and checking, it's super important. Like I like to, and then I feel like, okay, now that's a piece I can pack up and take away with me for the weekend, or that's a piece that I can like take to, the movies, or I can take to a restaurant where I'm meeting friends or my kids or whatever. So it's really for me, that's like a big milestone when I hit that. So I often will, if I have a new sweater on the needles, I will push myself to get through like the like this one. I pushed myself through that neckline to color work, into color work to armpit. I have like I think I have 8 or 6. No, I've got 16 rows of increase. I've got a series of increases to do till I get to the armpit. So I'm going to push myself to get through that this weekend, so that, because on the weekends I usually have long stretches of time where I can just sit knit. So yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you too that this pattern, the Tensho pullover, the pattern is written for bottom up, so I'm converting it to do top down. So, and so far so good. It's not that hard to read in reverse. I just cast on for the neckband, what she said you should be casting off, and then I did the chart in reverse order. So I started at the neck and worked my way down, and just where she had decreases, I increased, and that was why I was able to fit the skull in after that crosshatch, because fingering weight, of course, is smaller. And like I said, I just know I'm going to wear a fingering weight sweater more. Anyway, sorry. Moving on. Moving back to, so this is my Like a Cloud cardigan by Joji Locatelli. So I'm going to put a picture in here of Like a Cloud. So I have pushed myself to get past the armhole. So you can see right there, I've done about 2 inches, 1.5 inches, good 1.5 inches of the sweater. This is a beautiful textured knit that's just knits and pearls, like sort of a rib knit. It's got she had a really strange neck construction. It's top down, but it's got a drop shoulder, so there's absolutely no armhole shaping. It's just a straight armhole. There were a couple things. I think this might have been this first top down that she designed. I'm not sure, or very nearly. First top down drop shoulder maybe, because she had you were supposed to do the back neck from this point, so your fronts started right here on the back neck and went straight down. I made some neck shaping because it didn't make any sense to me, so I shortened it didn't make any sense to do that, because I was thinking, like, why do I want the front coming from the back neck and around? I don't know, it was just weird. I found that weird. Because you would need a lot more extra length, or it's hiking up in the front. Maybe that's the style. Anyway, I ended up making a little bit of neck shaping on the fronts. So I left the marker, but then did my shoulder. This is my back neck now, so my shoulder line is here. And then I probably should have done my decreases a little bit less frequently, or my increases a little less frequently, to get a little smoother line. So I ended up with a pretty, I think you can see it there, like kind of a sharp scoop, which, and then there was it's pretty pointy right there. It's going to look fine. She also has you do no front trim. This is another open cardigan. I think I'm going to at least do an I-cord bind off around the whole front neck. I was thinking about doing maybe like 2 or 3 rows of a 2x2, because she has you do a 2x2 rib on the bottom, on the cuffs and on the bottom. So I thought I may do a little 2x2, because I don't know. It seems weird to me that there isn't that. I know the idea was it's this super simple, easy to knit, no shaping sort of design, and it's also like a very, very squishy, stretchy knit that I know it's going to grow a lot. I can tell it's going to grow a lot, because this is like actually a very short armhole for me, and a very short like that. If I put this on my shoulder, that very definitely is just barely making it to my armpit. But I think in the blocking, this is really going to grow a lot. I think that's just the nature of this stitch. So yeah, I think that was the idea. It smells so sheepy. The yarn I'm not using the yarn that was recommended by the pattern. The recommended yarn for the pattern is Shibui. You're meant to hold together, I don't remember what the yarn is exactly, but I know you're supposed to hold a mohair silk, and theirs is also a 60/40 mohair silk with a strand of something else, and then you knit those together and it's this soft fluffy cloud. I am using this wool from Little Gray Sheep. It is their Jacob sheep wool. So Jacob wool has a natural gray color. Let's see if I have, I don't think I have the, yeah, no, I don't have the, oh yes I do. Oh, I found it. Found the tag. Yeah. So, sorry, not Jacob, Gotland. This is Gotland 4-ply. Yeah, 100% Gotland. It has a natural halo to it, which I think you can see pretty nicely in the knit. So I thought it might make a really nice substitute for the Shibui yarns, and when I swatched it, it swatched up just fine. So there's the tag, Little Gray Sheep. British Gotland 4-ply. I think I have 4 skeins, which is plenty. This is a really long sweater. It goes like past your hip. And I'm in the mindless just knit row after row after row until you get to the length that you need. I think she has you knit from the armpit, I don't remember, like 17 or 18 inches. Maybe less because there's a lot of growth expected in the stitch. So yeah, I'm in that lovely mindless mode. This might be something I bring on my trip because I don't know that I'm going to get that far on it because I'm really pushing myself to finish the Tensho and this new design, this layering tee. I really would love to get both of those done. And this, like a cloud, would you know, because it's interesting but not incredibly not tremendously mindless. You know, can we talk about knitting mojo? Because I hear people talking about this on their sites all the time. Just gonna grab my tea. About them losing their mojo. I don't really know what that means. What the hell, man? What do you mean? I mean, I understand, like, getting bored. I feel like when you're using, I scratch that. I think when you use the term you're knitting mojo or you're anything mojo, what you're just saying is that why don't you just, you're not in touch with what's really going on with you. Just say what you mean. Say what's really happening. You're bored. You're bored with your knitting. I get bored with my knitting too. That's why I have so many whips, because I'll be bored with one thing. I'm not like this. This like a cloud, it's a really good example. It's been sitting, languishing. It's been a languishing whip for weeks. I started it back in May. I knit furiously on it for like 2 weeks and put it down. There were other things that caught my attention and kept me going. I think that's what's important about having several whips. It's like those, and if you have 3 or 4 whips on the needle and none of them are exciting you, then pick up something else that's exciting to you. Excited again about knitting by watching knitting podcasts like this one, or knitting channels, or, you know, scrolling through Instagram and being inspired by something that someone else is knitting. Maybe, like, if you're not getting things through on your Instagram or on your YouTube channel, go off grid. Like, jump off your grid and go into the explore mode and like let yourself go down some rabbit holes to discovery, so that you can discover some things that excite you and that are new and interesting. I'm going to talk about a new cast on that I'm planning to do when I get back from my trip. So I think it's going to be a really nice sort of holiday looking knit without being like a real holiday knit. Like, I think I'm going to talk to you about it in a minute. But I discovered it and found it by going off my grid and checking out other other things, like just going down a rabbit hole of discovery, like just like, oh, let me see, what's this, oh wow, I love this. And just when I come across a pattern that I really love, if I see it on Instagram, I jump over to Ravelry, I search for that designer, and I queue it. I just put it into my queue and let it linger there while I sort of chew on what yarns I will use. I mean, I have a lot of yarn hanging around, like a lot of yarn in my yarn stash. Plenty of sweater quantities of fingering weight yarn and a couple sweater quantities of DK. So I have plenty of yarn that I would love to knit. So I always, when I see a new pattern, I think about what do I have in my stash that I could use, and if I can't make anything work from my stash, I start thinking about, well, what's the next fiber festival I'm going to, or who's having a sale, what do I imagine would look good here, and that helps get me excited. So hopefully looking at what I'm besides me saying that, I'm sure everyone has their issues, and I'm not trying to downplay other people's issues that they may have, or like mental health issues things that they may be struggling with that may depress their desire to knit. I don't mean to make light of that, but I'm just trying to say, like, if you are someone who's not, like, if you're bored knitting socks, then don't knit socks anymore. If you're bored knitting garments, maybe try knitting socks. There's a lot of ways to because knitting is really, really, it's proven, researched and proven. It's very relaxing, and it does a lot of things for our mind, body health and our mental health. So it's a it's horrible I feel bad for you if you have lost your urge or your desire to knit, because there are so many benefits to knitting. So yeah. I have a little bit of Stacquisition to share with you. I joined Stitch Together Studio. I joined her, what did she call it? I'm not really sure what she called it. It was some sort of club. It's not monthly, it's 8 times a year. I think it's based on the 8 pagan holidays. Is it pagan? Yeah, I think I got it right. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself. So she decided to start it with the holiday that's called Mabon. And what she did was she created this beautiful little illustrated booklet. So it's like a little tiny booklet that tells you about the holiday and has suggestions for like getting in the mood. It has a recipe and other things to do. So she made this cute little booklet. I got a little candle that was seasonally like. So Mabon is about harvest time, essentially. It usually falls between September 21st and the 24th. It's this time of year where day and night are essentially equal. And it's supposed to be about seeking wisdom and the celebration of the fading light, as well as also harvest-like things. So like all those things that you associate with September, like apple cider and spices and, the hoogly sort of coziness that comes with the days getting shorter and the weather cooling down. So she also provided a little candle, a little like metal tin candle. That hat, I already burned it down, otherwise it's burned. I've used it up completely. It was like apple cider scented. It was so good. And she did fiber and yarn, and I bought a fiber subscription, and the fiber is this gorgeous autumnal, like purple, grade purple with blue and pops of orange and some stellina in there. So it's a 3-ounce bag. This is just a little bit of it. A couple other, what does she call them? She calls them pufflings. So yeah, I'm so excited to spin this. So this should get me going. This should get me through. I feel like I got to get that red done before I do this, but I might just finish off the one skein of red that's on the spinning wheel, and then maybe spin this because this is so pretty. It's just so pretty. Really, really love it. Then, so she's doing 8. The next one is Sam Hain, or Sam Han, I guess it's called. It's October, and I think that falls around Halloween, so like the end of October. So when I get home from my trip, this box should be waiting. Oh, okay, and you also got this beautiful little stitch marker. There you go. Little citrine and a feather. And everything was labeled with how it worked back into the holiday. So I'm like so scared. I have a subscription for the next one. She calls it a ritual box. So maybe it's 8 rituals. Maybe that's what it is. Sam Hain. Those subscriptions have already been filled. The next one should be Yule, which will be around Christmas time, and I'm so nervous I'm gonna miss it because I really want to try to get all 8. I just think it was such a delight, and honestly, like, I go into September and fall kicking and screaming. Like, I freaking love summertime. I love the ease of summertime, the ease at my job because I'm a university professor, so summertime is so nice and so relaxing, and there's a lot of space for just personal enrichment and personal growth that I don't have during the academic year. So it's really, really lovely to have summer, to have that break. And then when September comes, like, it starts to be almost the end of August, I'm just like, no to September. Just no. I love October because by then I'm like through all the hard part. Because September can be pretty tough in my job, just because it's like getting reacclimated. There's a lot of demands on my time by my students, and not just my students, but the department students and people coming in, floating through. We had some staffing changes, which contributed to a little bit more of the workload. It's for the best, of course. Like, I feel good about the staff changes, but still, you have to get people acclimated, and you have to get people, on getting used to things. So that was a little, yeah. So this box had arrived just at the right time, just right when I was like feeling really stressed out and just really sad about the fact that that summer was over, and I was like back at school teaching and dealing with students and students' problems and stuff, and this like kind of made me take a step back and spend a little self-care, and me time. So it was really, really nice. I loved it. But I love Stitch Together Studio. I just love her ay and the way she plays with color, and her sensibilities. They really are right up my alley, and her values, they mesh with mine very nicely. So I always feel good about buying her products. So she has some beautiful fall colors coming out, I think today or tomorrow. I think it might be today, Saturday. This is the Saturday, October 5th rather. And then she said she's doing fiber next week, which I really am going to have to try hard to resist, because I am going to Rhinebeck, and there will be a lot of vendors that I don't get to see frequently, and I'll be able to really fill up my my fiber stash. So I want to resist, but it's going to be hard because she's so, wow, just great. In other Rhinebeck news, I did a thing. Look, I just got them. I made patches. So I made patches for my channel. Hopefully you can see there. My intention is to give them away, so you can see my Instagram handles at the bottom, and then it says Whiskey and Wool on top. And I did some gold mylar stitching there. This is all black stitching. Oh my gosh, I wish my camera would focus so you could actually see it. There we go. So I'm going to be changing my icon instead of my face, this is going to be my icon on both my Ravelry and my YouTube and Instagram. yeah, I really love it. So I will have a bunch of these at Rhinebeck. I will be giving them away there, and if I have any left, I will be including them in any purchases that people make when I'm doing destashes and stuff like that, as well as probably taking them to Vogue Knitting Live. But yeah, aren't they so cool? I just love them. They came out perfectly, and they're not that big. They're like a little bit smaller than a business card. So they'd be like great sewn onto your... I didn't do iron on, like I decided not to because I don't really like how stiff that is. I always stitch them on anyway because iron on doesn't really stay. So I hope that's okay for people, that you actually have to take out a needle and thread and stitch them on. If I get a lot of complaints about that, I will buy iron on next time. But I really, really love it. My plan actually is to get some, get this cup with the ball of yarn, that thing and the needles. I'm going to take that and make it a progress, a stitch marker with a little slip, so like a little jump ring. So yeah, I think that'll be cool and fun. Yeah, so excited about those. I hope you guys like those. Hope you like them. I just wanted to do something that would help people remember who I am and maybe find me, help them find me on, because you meet so many people and there's just so much activity and it's kind of sensory overload. So this way, at least I'll be able to hand those out and hopefully people will remember me. Okay, so I want to tell you about the knit. I was talking about going down a rabbit hole on, or going like into a discovery mode. The women that invited me to the Junko Okamoto photo shoot, once I told them that I was going, they friended me. So I friended them back. They friended me on Instagram. So I friended them back, and then I was looking at some of their feed, and there was this designer. There were like a couple of them had said, like one of them, it looks like she's very much like a one sweater at a time. So she was working on one sweater, and then she had plans she was talking about the sweater, her plans for the next sweater on Instagram. And she talked about this designer that I knew, but I hadn't seen that particular sweater. So I clicked over to that designer's profile, and I do follow that designer. And then I looked on Ravelry, and I fell in love with this sweater here. And I realized, like, I was watching Dundernit, I was watching Caroline on Dundernit, and she had picked out the exact same sweater, like 2 days after I had picked it out, like after I had like bought the pattern and downloaded it and started to think about what yarns I had in stash that I wanted to use. As soon as I saw it was fingering weight, I was like, oh my God, that would look so, so, so amazing. And I was sitting there watching Dundernit, and I'm like, no, I wanted to be the one to talk about it. I don't know, I don't know if our viewers, if you all watch her too. You should if you're not, because she's amazing. She's so funny. She doesn't knit very much, but she's really, really a hoot to watch, like just very entertaining. Watch me for the knitting and watch her for the entertainment. But anyway, I was like, no, I wanted to talk about that. I just, that idea of like just trying not to select what I'm selecting to knit based on this mass, like everyone's doing it sort of feeling. So yeah, so anyway, I love this sweater. I think it's so pretty. It's so cute. So in the pattern, this is, if you were seeing it in color, this is gray and then this is black. But so I was remembering that I had bought this gorgeous gray yarn from La Mermew. I don't know, I'm saying it wrong, I'm sure. But it's Scottish wool, super, super soft Shetland wool. So beautiful. So I have a sweater's quantity of this gray, and I started to think that it would look so pretty with a red. I mean, look at that. And it wouldn't be a red sweater, it would be a gray sweater with red accents, because I know what you're thinking. Because I did the whole like, oh my God, I have a red problem, and I don't wear red. So I this is a gray sweater. It's with red. So yeah, I thought that might be really pretty. This is an old club color from Casual Fashion Queen. It's called Dracarys, which is a Game of Thrones reference. It means fire. from Game of Thrones. So this is a sock wool. So I thought that those two would make a beautiful pairing for that sweater. Or this is yarn I won in a giveaway, but it is non-superwash Targhee from Blue Moon Fiber Company. I thought that would be also equally pretty. So I think what I'm going to do, the next step is going to be to swatch. So I'm going to do a little swatch with a little bit of color work with both of these to see which one I like. I'm a little concerned about the superwash as in color work, like pairing. I'm a little concerned about that pairing fiber-wise. I just want to see how they look together. Hopefully the Shetland will do its thing and make up for what the superwash will not be doing, which basically by what its thing is just bloom, like it'll do the blooming and the sort of smoothing out of the color work that the superwash is unable to do because of the chemicals that have been used to process it. So, and if not, then this. I'm actually really curious because if you look at this skein, it's like half red, half orange. So and a lot of like color blending in between. So I'm very curious to see what this knits up like whether it looks more orange or more red. And if it's more on, like if it's sort of doing this, making your eye blend those together into a nice soft or orangey red, I'm down with that. I'm totally down with that. What I don't want is too much, like it's very much a tonal, and I think it'll actually knit. I think that if I were knitting it in a sock or something, it would end up striping. But I think in something like a colorwork yoke, it should blend pretty nicely. It should be a pretty nice stretch of red and then orange, and then like sort of a bleed through. So I think this may be the way I'm gonna go, even though I would love to use this up because it's so pretty. I had originally thought I would make some socks for one of my sons with this, but I'm just not a sock knitter. I need someone to knit socks for me. Yeah. And yeah, that's about it. I know I said I would talk about where I'm going. Oh my goodness, it's so late. So late. Okay, so my plans, I want to tell you quick. On the Friday before Rhinebeck, what I'm planning to do is go to Needles Up, which is a free event. There are VIP tickets that, look, it's already faded quite a bit. Tells you that my tea is cold. It's a free event. You can buy tickets to what they call VIP. There's like a VIP hour from 12 to 1 where you pay like $5 to get in. It's not like Indie Untangled. Indie Untangled, I think the tickets prices started around 20 or so, or 15, 20, something like that. They were pretty expensive. And then you were buying for an hour. You were paying for access for 1 hour for a bunch of vendors. So Needles Up is about 8 vendors. It is Classy Squid Fibers, which is someone I'm so excited to see in person. She's made the most adorable Harry Potter potion kits of fiber. I don't know if she has yarn. I've only bought fiber from her. She's in like the Baltimore, Maryland area, somewhere down south, because I know she does Maryland sheep and wool all the time, and she hasn't been able to get into Rhinebeck. So I think this is her first time doing Needles Up. I don't remember her being at Needles Up, but then again, I wasn't spinning last fall. I wasn't paying attention. So there's that. So there's that. So Classy Squid Fibers, she made these cute little, I'll put a picture, I've probably already done it, a picture on screen of Harry Potter potion kits, which are just all her Harry Potter fiber colors, which I think is 7 or 9 fiber colors, and just a little bit of each. So you end up with this like really cute little mixture of fibers that you can add into any other spinning project coming along. So I thought that was adorable. I'm hoping to get that. I think there's stitch markers in that too. She's also bringing in, she does a whole range of colors that are based on A Court of Thorn and Roses, which I've done. I've gotten her Valaris color, which is a city in that book series. Court of Thorn and Roses is a book series. So yeah, really excited. I'm gonna have to really, really keep myself from blowing my entire Rhinebeck budget in her booth. Tuft Woolens is also there. They do the soaps and stuff like that. I think they have candles too. Doghouse Pottery is there. Nymph Dye Works. Frame and Fiber, I don't know what they do. Sandy by the Lakeside will be there, and also Sucre Miniatures, which are these little progress keepers. Like I had one on this one. This is a Sucre miniature. Sorry, let me turn it this way. Sheepachino from 2 years ago. Sheepachino. So it's like a cappuccino that's made into a sheep. It's really cute. So that's Sucre Miniatures from 2 years ago. I picked it up in someone else's booth because I don't think she has ever vended. Maybe she did Needles Up last year. Okay, so that's Needles Up. So I'm going to that. That opens to the public at 1 o'clock. It's from 1 to 6. And then I'm also going to the Rhinebeck Yarn Bazaar. It's their first annual organization. It's organized by Kristy Glass Knits, and it's sponsored by, but organized by this woman who runs... oh my goodness, her shop name just went out of my head. But she's in Rhinebeck. She has a yarn shop in Rhinebeck. Her parents have a hardware store. It's the way I understand it. I might have this wrong. I might have the facts wrong a little bit. But I think there's like this variety / hardware store, or like anything you need type of store. Like kind of a mom and pop, old school hardware store. They're like a dime a dozen upstate New York. But this particular one, the back room is all full of yarn, and really cool yarn. I got some of my Spincycle yarn there last year, after I had, been a little conservative at the booth. I ended up going and getting a little bit of Spincycle yarn there. So anyway, I think her name is Lisa. She is running this Rhinebeck Yarn Bazaar, and that is on Friday from 2 to 6. Friday, October 18th. And it is in the Church of Messiah Parish Hall. They also, that hall, the owners of that hall do they collect food donations. So they're asking that if you wish to, there's no obligation, but if you wish to donate food, non-perishable food items, they will be collecting them there. I don't have the full list of everyone that's going to be there, but I do know Zandy Peter, the designer, Zandy Peters, will be there. She's giving away a pattern to every single person who goes. I know Alex Creates will be there. His partner in crime, Amanda, I don't remember her last name, but she does like really cool spinning art yarns, and he does pottery as well as yarn, and then also fiber for spinning. They'll be there. Lady Dye Yarns will be there. I can't remember who else. The sea glass lady, the woman who uses seawater to dye, she'll be there. She had gotten kicked out of Rhinebeck for some reason, or not invited back, I guess. So I think that, I don't really know the politics of having a booth at Rhinebeck, but basically I think, as far as I know, if you have a booth at Rhinebeck, you have it for life, or until you don't want to be there anymore, and then if you give it up, you don't get it back. Like, it's not like, if you miss 1 year, you never can go back. So I don't know what happened with her, but she ended up not being invited back, and it's almost like a given that you're invited back. So that was kind of weird. But anyway, she's going to be at this first annual Rhinebeck Yarn Bazaar, so that should be really fun. That is the Friday. That evening, I'm meeting non-knitting friends for dinner. They live a little far, not a little far, about a half hour, 30 minutes north of Rhinebeck, so I will be going there and spending the night, and then I'll be up in the morning and back down, going a full day on the Saturday. So I really, really want to connect with people, so please, please, please let me know what your plans are, so we can connect and we can make a plan and meet up, because I tried this before at EYF and I ended up missing 2 people that I really wanted to connect with. We didn't make a solid plan, so this time I'm really determined to get a solid plan, or as solid as can be. If all else fails, like I'm planning to, there's this hill that podcasters hang out on, and just knitters, people sit and knit. It's basically like the knitting hill, because Rhinebeck isn't just knitting, it's all about fibers, all different fibers. People are there, spinners, but all the knitters seem to kind of congregate to this one hill that's right near the entrance, between like where they do the sheepdog trials and this like little tiny petting zoo. So there's like this hill. I'll be there if like I'll just be hanging out there. I'll just be sitting and knitting if all else fails. So do look for me there. I am hoping to. I know Amber of Yarn Hoarder's going to be there. I really want to say hello to her. I really want to say hello to Caroline of Dundernit. Of course, Kristy. I'll see her. She and I have like we're friendly. We message each other once in a while. I'm certainly not in her inner circle by any stretch of the imagination, but we don't live so far away from each other, so our paths cross occasionally. And who else? I think that's it. That's all I can think of. I know there's going to be other people there, though, that I'm just going to be like, oh my God, yay, nice to see you. So yeah. That's about it. The next time you see me, it will be post Rhinebeck, and I will be sharing all of my, hopefully, I hope I remember to take some clips. I will be taking selfies when I meet up with people. So I hope I remember to do some filming. I'm notoriously bad at that. But maybe if I do end up meeting with other people, they will do some filming for me and send me the clips. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of crafting done as I sat here and chattered, and I hope I inspired you to do some stuff. I hope if your mojo's slack, that I inspired you to pick up those needles again and make something that you want to make, not something that you think you have to make. So yeah, I think that's super important, and that keeps your knitting mojo, or any mojo, going. If you're doing it because you want to, not because you think you have to. That's like the killer of all joy, right? I have to. That's the kill of joy. That's the killjoy. That's the killjoy. Anyway, you get me, I hope. But yes, anyway. Thank you for watching. Please comment. I read every single one. I comment back on every single one. I love hearing from you, so please let me know what you're thinking, what your thoughts are, and let me know if you'll be at Rhinebeck. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.